Coming up to the site of the Cameron Lake Water Tower. The tower is long gone, but the concrete foundations still exist, and they have rails resting on them right here on the left. It's a landmark that I'm always happy to see and point out on my hikes. That concrete there and there. And the siding is right there. The section of railway between the old Cameron Lake Chalet and Station site and the first Lakeview Trestle was full of reminders of the train operating era of the ENN Railway, including the steam era. I'm still getting accustomed to referring to my hikes in the past tense. It still sounds weird. A quick note about time. In this series of videos, I refer to 3 different eras. First era is when trains were running on this railway, so before early 2002. The second era is when I was doing my hikes there, so between 2019 and March 2025, and this is the main focus of this video series. And the third era is the current evolving unknown post-fire reality, when the old routes of people hiking Wesley Ridge and me hiking the railway aren't possible and the area is unsafe. This episode of my Cameron Lake Trestles series covers the section of railway at the east end of Cameron Lake, from the water tower site at milepost 12.7 to just before the first Lakeview Trestle at mile 13.7. For the area covered in this episode, the first landmark encountered by me on my hikes westbound was the Cameron Lake Water Tower site. During my first few hikes past this location, I only saw this as a set of concrete foundations that were used to hold lengths of spare rail. I eventually learned that I was walking past the water tower site, and so after that, it was a whole lot more meaningful to me when I would walk past it. Like most landmarks near the start of my hikes, I would often encounter the old water tower site in the darkness during my outbound leg in the dawn or pre-dawn of the morning. Afternoon inbound legs of my hikes would allow for better light and more opportunity to explore the site. The Cameron Lake siding at 1,337 feet long was a frequent area for me to note and to explore a bit. Most of it was contained in a young forest beside the main line. Here's a view of the siding. Right in there. Just continues on in these trees. I'm in the siding, in the trees, where it's tough to move around. Let's get down low. That's the view. Trees and rail. I'm down low in the tree tunnel of the siding, getting a photograph. The switch at the west end of the siding had been removed in the last few years of operations, so sometime before 2002, after a derailment there. I had fun finding the switch points and frog, even if I didn't really know the terminology for the switch rail items. I still don't really know. And here's the rails that were removed, and these are rails for the siding at the end with the guardrail, where there's a guardrail, and so each of them are double because they have a guardrail attached to them, and covered by Who knows, this might have been the frog. But yeah, these are definitely the parts for the guardrail and frog. Just lies in through there. You can see the length of the ties suggests that the switch was here. This is mile 13. No post, but I know where it is. Not the post, I know where the location is. Right here. 9 months after that visit, a signpost miracle happened. Now, I got a thing for railway mile posts, and in the 21 miles of the Port Alberni subdivision that I regularly hiked over the years, I only saw 16 intact mileposts. And for 2 of them, I only saw them one time only. Well, this mile 13 post is one of those one-time only posts. On my January 2023 hike, this moment happened. As I head towards, hey, here's the mile 13 sign. Someone actually found it. First time that I have seen this in my time here, 4 years. I don't know where it was before that I didn't see it. Maybe it was just down in the bank in the junk there. Near milepost 13 is a Gabion Wall. Now, the name Gabion is from an Italian word meaning big cage, and for the wall, the cage is typically some sort of wire mesh filled with solid material suitable to use in various civil engineering applications. The ballast inside the cage of a Gabion wall can sometimes include rocks, sand, soil, sometimes used tires and other recycled items. That's the definition from Wikipedia. Now, in this case, near mile 13, the cage is filled with rock that had fallen previously, and the wall is designed to prevent further rock fall from reaching the rails. It makes sense that the rock wall is there, because it's at the bottom of a big, what do you want to call it, a scree slope or something, just a slope with a bunch of loose rock. So it would prevent rocks from hitting the tracks if they were sliding down, the little guys. The longest tangent section in this area is only 0.3 miles, but it seems like a long section because 0.3 miles of straight railway is rare in this part of the Port Alberni subdivision. Here's a really long tangent section. It took me a long time to figure out in railway terminology that just means straight. I like this tree tunnel. Fog sure adds a nice touch to it. Lovely scene. Here's a simple windfall that I did the cross under method, thanks to the various people who've limbed it. In my videos of railway hikes on the Port Alberni subdivision, I often refer to good recreational users. Those are the people that use this corridor for fun, and they'll often pack a chainsaw and clear various windfall trees, and sometimes even clear some rock falls. Now, this happens more so on the western side of the summit, above the Alberni Valley, but it happens here too. There's a bunch of tie plates or joiners or something, and a common scene beside any railway. Only difference is this is kind of a time capsule from when it was last being maintained. And a bunch of grease buckets. This probably should have been cleaned up. That's not too, there's no point in leaving stuff like that there, even when the railway was being used. As much as I love railways and railway history, there's always things I encounter that just don't jive with my beliefs or ethics, and leaving a bunch of junk like those old metal buckets is one of those things. I can understand rails because you're going to use those, but buckets, that's garbage. After like 12 times walking by, I finally noticed this. East End Tracking, E&N Railway Division of the Canadian Railroad Historical Association. You guys are awesome. Here's an example of the tall broom, and I'm holding the camera level with my eyes. So, taller than me. So I duck below and through. Again, if this were summer with ticks, no way. And I'm not even at the first trestle yet. So this is about mile 13.5, 13.6, something like that. I feel like I'm walking into some other dimension when I walk into broom like this. It's like, okay, here we go. At least it's not hitting me in the face yet. Oh yeah. Here's a landslide, maybe about mile 13.6. Right in an area where we've got some rails stored there. Oh yeah, so we'll walk around through the rail area and get an idea of what this looks like. I can see a big rock up ahead. This is a good time to mention the impact of the 2025 Wesley Ridge wildfire, which includes the loss of some of the railway trestles above the lake. My nuanced opinion is that the trestles' fate was actually lost around 9 years before this recent fire, after 2016 or so. 2016 was roughly when authorized maintenance access by volunteer groups was ended, and so the obstacles from nature's constant pushback started to accumulate unchecked again. In my view of the history, the June 2016 Narcoa Speeder Tour, as the last authorized use of that part of the Port Alberni subdivision, seems to mark the end of that era when the railway operator was able to access the remote sections of the railway. Eventually, the section of railway above Cameron Lake, roughly between mileposts 13 and 18, which includes the 4 Lakeview trestles and 2 other trestles west of the lake, well, this section of the railway was isolated at both ends by unchecked accumulated physical obstacles on the railway, obstacles that would include the deteriorated trestles themselves. The inaccessibility of this section of railway then allowed further obstacles to build up and add to the list of unresolved barriers, a compounding problem with no end. Okay, let's go through the path. I'm not the first person to take this diversion. Standing in the middle of the tracks. No, I'm not. I'm standing beside the tracks. Hard to see. Now I'm in the middle of the tracks. There's the big rock. This guy's big as well. And what's it like behind me? Some more rocks right there. Okay, continue my way through here. Oh yeah. This guy's big. Let's carefully walk by this guy. Oh yeah, watch my footing, Mike. Alright, let's see how many more of these we have today. Thanks for watching this episode in my Cameron Lake Trestles series. I'm producing a series of YouTube videos to share my photo and video memories of the Cameron Lake Railway Trestles from my various visits between 2019 and 2025. Episode 1 has already been uploaded to my channel, and that's where I go through the context, the history, and most importantly, the wildfire in summer 2025 and the status of the trestles. Yeah, I hate the broom. Hey Mike, why don't you come here in the summertime? Well, do you like picking ticks out of your armpits and crotch?